Well, bowling fans, your eyes aren't deceiving you. We are at Classic Lanes Greenfield for the 2+1 trios today. However, it's such a nice day outside. Joey and I decided to step out and start the show out here. And Joey, gorgeous weather outside today. Nice and warm here, but the action's been really hot inside the lanes here at Classic Lanes Greenfield.
Well, yes, it has. And, we saw almost a 300 game in qualifying, a 297 game. And we got to appreciate these nice days. We don't get too many of them.
No, this is one of those days that we wish we had open-air bowling for you on TV. Unfortunately, we don't. We're going to get back into Classic Lanes Greenfield and bring you that opening match of the 2+1 trios in just a minute, so make sure you stay tuned. Eileen's Bowling Buddy, used by high school and college coaches and members of the PBA Tour to train, warm up, and rehab. Get all the information at eileensbowlingbuddy.com. Opening match, the 2015 Classic Lanes Greenfield 2+1 trios. Sorry Guy versus It's All Greek to Me. And Joey starting things off for a team we've seen on TV before, Janine Meifert.
Yeah, fun names for a fun tournament. And up first, Mike Meifert's lovely wife, Janine. I had the pleasure of bowling with her at the USBC National Tournament about 3 years ago. And you'll see she's kind of a stroker. Very solid at the line. Relies on accuracy. And a great opening shot as her ball finished behind the 8th pin.
Yes, indeed. A nice shot there to start off with. Now, we are bowling on the 40-foot Broadway pattern. However, normally we re-oil the lanes prior to a TV telecast so the bowlers are on the fresh. With the format of the tournament today, the qualifying and semifinals taking a little longer than expected. We decided to go ahead and start taping without re-oiling, so they've been bowling on this pattern all day, and that's why you see even the female bowlers, like Laura Matilla here, very deep on the lane on a 40-foot pattern.
There's a light mixer on that 4-pin, and also had the pleasure of bowling with Laura in that same tournament. Her and Janine were teammates.
So yeah, these bowlers very familiar with each other, bowl in a lot of competitions throughout Wisconsin. But this is a very unique format in honor of Gloria Bear's Anchor Girl Trio tournament that ran for many years, and her and her daughter Dawn brought the tournament back a couple years ago.
I've seen this bowler before. I believe his brother Tim Moss bowls in our Monday League. This being Chad. Not the way Chad wants to start the match.
No, the old 4-6-7. Burned out lane pattern and only 40 feet of oil. Power player like Chad really needs to tame down the equipment to get it to hold, and only gets 2 on the spare attempt at about 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, Chad's got that heavy roll. He can make any ball look pretty strong on any pattern, but there are times a stronger ball in a burned out, drier lane can actually control the back end. So we'll see if Chad possibly makes a ball change later.
Jacob Borsch, son of USBC Hall of Famer Lenny Borsch, making his first adult appearance on the lanes. He made a couple of our Youth Challenge Series telecasts back in his college days at Clark University.
You can see his game, physical game, very strong. Possibly, in fact, Lenny would probably say stronger than his physical game, but we know Lenny is a gifted physical and mental bowler. Yeah, Jacob, I'm sure, just prays to be half as good as his dad is.
Yeah, Lenny, I'll see him a little bit this summer on the PBA 50 Tour while I'm doing my Extra Frame coverage. If you haven't subscribed to Extra Frame yet, there's some great events coming up. And they just announced the change to the World Series of Bowling to be held in Reno in December. Still be a couple of nice events for the bowlers in October at the South Point Bowling Plaza in Las Vegas. And if you get to Vegas anytime soon, go check out that bowling plaza. It is a very unique piece of work. How about that for Dave Barras?
Yeah, and you can see he's also fighting that strong back-end reaction, but he trips the 4-7. Yeah, Extra Frame of PBA's Extra Frame, the best bargain in bowling, in my opinion. It's been that way for years.
Yeah, and now with increasing coverage this summer, you get the Professional Women's Bowling Association events as well as the PBA 50, some PBA Extra Frame only events, and a guy who used to have his PBA card back in the day, now USBC Hall of Famer, Gus Yannaras.
And we get to watch the legends and the top female players as well as the top pros.
Great start there by Gus. We're going to take our commercial break for this game now. Join us back from Classic Lanes Greenfield in just a moment for the rest of this opening match. Due to time constraints, we had the bowlers continue bowling through the commercial break. Gene Meifert for Team Sorry Guy. A good shot. Leaves that mixer 7-pin.
Yeah, kind of threw the 5-pin in front of the 7, or collided with another pin and didn't get the 7 knocked over. Makes the spare, though.
Laura Matilla for It's All Greek to Me. A little bit left the target immediately. No breaks. Leaves that through the nose 7-10 and only gets 1 on the spare attempt. Chad Moss stepping up on lane 13 here at Classic Lanes Greenfield. Fixes his opening shot error.
Yeah, I'm sure Chad made a good move left with his feet. Good 3 boards.
And Jake Borsch gets a little bit of the Wally mixer there. With that strike, it leaves It's All Greek to Me down by 10 pins against Sorry Guy. Watch that replay. Jake, see that more and more nowadays where the ball and another pin hits the 5-pin at the same time. Most of the time that pin goes down. Sometimes, Joey, you've seen that paralyzed 5 out on the lanes.
Yeah, it's really hard to predict pinfalls sometimes. There's times the light hit carries really well, other times dead flush. Dave goes dead flush once again.
Nice shot. Gets Sorry Guy up by 20 sticks in the 6th frame.
So we got some evenly matched teams, and it's a good mix of youth, good female players on each team, and some wily veterans, USBC Credential Hall of Fame veterans on the teams. Chad soon to be, I'm sure.
Oh, no doubt. Dave Barris.
Dave Barris as well.
A couple of bowlers have come real close to getting titles at the USBC National Tournament, and you see a little bit of a difference in entry angle between Dave Barris, a little flatter than Gus. Dave takes all 10 down. Gus leaves that solid 9-pin.
Yeah, Gus never having issues getting the ball through the front part of the lane, and his ball generally has a pretty strong change in direction when it comes off the pattern, as we saw there with a solid 9.
Nice open hand on the bottom. Take a little bit of that back end off the ball to make sure you cover the 9-pin up.
And not grab it.
So 21 pins now the lead for Sorry Guy, looking to extend it to 31 if Janine Meifert can get a strike in the 7th frame. She's been clutch all day. She stepped up a couple of times today in the match play semifinals. Threw a strike in the 10th frame to lock up some bonus pins to help him get in the 4th position, and splits the 8 and the 9 perfectly.
Yeah, almost left the solid 8 on that shot.
Nice shot there. Get that lead out to 31 pins for Sorry Guy. And
31 pins against any of these teams isn't quite enough, especially with all the frames left. Laura is well aware of this. She knows she needs a strike for Team Greek. Nice off the hand. Pretty good result.
And she was talking during practice that as deep as her teammates have gotten her to move into is kind of nosebleed territory for her. It's an area of the lane that she doesn't get into often, and for not playing between 4th and 5th arrow very often, she looks very comfortable out there doing it.
Right, and when there's heavy friction in the track area, you just can't play there unless you can generate, 20-some miles an hour ball speed or greater. And as we know, Laura's ball speed a little softer as Chad goes boom, boom, flush.
So keeps that lead out there.
Yeah, Chad's no stranger to that inside line. He typically is living between 4th, 5th, possibly 6th arrow at times.
Oh, especially with some of the conditions that he sees on the PBA Regional Tour, bowling regional events. Kind of in Dave Barris and Chad Moss's wheelhouse. And collegiate events, Jake Borsch is no stranger to the inside part of the lane as well. As those college matches, those lanes break down, and a great shot there by Jake Borsch.
Yeah, clean off the hand, great follow through. Boy, youth can sure throw it well, can't they? those kids.
Yeah, and the great coaching. I mean, when Jake was his last year at Clark University, he was a member of the program, and it started as a freshman. He was part of the first class in on that bowling program, and ended up making their way to the USBC Intercollegiate Team Championships his senior year. This one can pretty much lock up the match for Team Sorry Guy, and didn't seem that bad off his hand.
No, it wasn't that bad a shot, but Dave flirted with a 4-7-10 earlier, but he tripped all 3 pins, coming a little deep in the pocket, and he may have still made a move, but evidently not quite enough of a move. See if he gives it a run.
Yeah, kind of important, so I'm sure we'll see him make sure to get that 1 pin, and wow.
Well, you're supposed to hit it thin, and you're supposed to hit it on the left side of the pin, which Dave did both.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, you don't see that too often, do you?
No, you just watch the replay here. That 4-pin just almost could have made a 4-6.
Well, a 4-5 for sure, possibly a 4-6.
And he knew he gave it a close ride. But now that makes the match interesting because 184 in the 9th, maximum 214 for Sorry Guy. If Gus Yannaras can strike here, there's a 228 possible out there for It's All Greek to Me. So this shot, huge for Gus.
5-step approach, great follow-through, and he carries the light mix.
You call it Hall of Fame carry there, Joey?
That's just good eating on those gyros sandwiches for the last 40-some years, even though Gus, we know, is in his 50s.
Great shot, mixes up the 4, 5, and 7, and we have ourselves one heck of a match here. 214 maximum here for Sorry Guy. 228 maximum for It's All Greek to Me, so a strike here really put some pressure on the opposite team, and of course a great shot by Janine Meifert leaves the solid 9, and that's a second one we've seen this match.
Yeah, and Jeannie not too happy with the result, but she'll convert the spare and hopefully fill the 10th with 20.
Well, that just needs, if that's the case, 204, that just means good count and a mark for Laura Matilla in the 10th frame, and that'll get her team advanced to take on our defending champions, Classic Lanes Greenfield, in the semi-final match.
Good counting a mark isn't always easy. I mean, you can leave a pocket 7-10, a 4-9.
Oh, we saw 7-10 when Laura Matilla went a little left with her first shot, back in frame number 4.
Okay, every pin critical, so I'm sure Janine is aware of that. Anything can happen in this sport.
And of course, it's a fill ball, so our carry percentage, I think, is about 93% all time on fill balls, and of course, that continues to hold true.
Yeah, she made a little move left with her feet, dead flushed it in the pocket. 204 for them. So, is my math correct in that 7 spare strike is a winner?
7 spare strike would be 205 for It's All Greek to Me.
Well, I mean, Laura's struck pocket 7-10 and struck, well, a little high on that 7-10, and so 2 out of 3 she has struck, but she has not given up the pocket. Definitely well inside.
And that seemed to float a little long at the break point, and this is no gimme now for a tie, Joey.
Yeah, that is not a kind of a spare you want to leave. Brings up memories of Norm Duke leaving the same kind of shot in the, was that the Masters or the U.S. Open?
U.S. Open.
U.S.
He had to
Open.
make a bucket.
Needed to make it. Threw it hard and straight right at the 2-pin and converted it. Let's see if Laura goes a little cross lane. Stays with her strike ball. Perfectly done.
Yeah, took a little hand out of it. Made sure just to stay direct. And now she needs a strike to tie. If she does strike, the team captains will pick bowlers to attempt a single ball roll-off. If the first bowler ties with each other, then we go to another bowler that the team captain will pick until we rotate through all the bowlers before someone can reshoot in the roll-off.
Giving her little words of encouragement and telling her just forget about that last shot, make a good shot here, focus. I think she may have just missed a little inside of target and just not caught it quite as well at the release. Better off the hand, and you can see the result. So we are tied.
Yeah, posted that shot nicely. 204 tie. Now we'll see who the team captains pick to attempt the roll-off. As we watch the replay, 5 gets blown towards the 7, but the head pin had already taken care of it. And Laura knows the job's not over yet. You just got yourself the tie for the team. Once again, captain selects a bowler for the roll-off. If they tie, the captain select another bowler from the team to continue the roll-off until the tie is broken. And it looks like Team Sorry Guy has gone with Chad Moss leading things off.
Not a bad choice.
You can't go wrong with any of the 6 bowlers on your team. Just that power coming through the shot on the bottom of that 5-step approach and a wrap 10.
Yeah, that was a good shot off his hand. Not the time you want to see 9, though.
And it was kind of funny. Jake Borsch, when he was conferring with his teammates, he's like, "Give me the ball." He wants it. You know, it's nice to see the young kid not afraid of wanting a pressure situation, performing in it, especially when you have a USBC Hall of Famer on your team. And we went with Jake. Strike to win in advance to the semifinal match. And they need some help, and he's lucky to get 9.
Yeah, very fortunate to get 9, and he looked a little surprised on that. But he made an aggressive shot.
Yeah, it's easy, as you said, to get aggressive and to just get a little bit amped with the ball speed. Lucky that the headpin came back around, knocked the 4 into the 8, took it out, and round 2 of this roll-off, Dave Barris stepping up for Team Sorry Guy.
I'm sure Dave will make an adjustment off his last frame. A few boards further left. Good follow-through.
And another 9-pin.
I mean, that's about as good as you can throw a ball when you need one. And Dave goes, "I'm not supposed to lead 9 pins."
No.
That's Chad.
Yeah,
Chad's supposed to lead them.
You're the PBA resident pro champion, as Dave previously was in his career. You just see that he knows it's good in the pocket. You see the reaction from Chad Moss. Can't believe the 9-pin stands.
So does Gus move in and play light and try and get a mix, or does he try and high flush it?
Well, he was light on his last shot, so I think he probably is pretty close to where he was starting off. Sets it up, and there's the high flush.
Just enough to get that 10 out. Job well done by Gus.
A great match. It's all Greek to me. Moves on to take on Classic Lanes Greenfield in our semifinal match. Join us for that match from Classic Lanes in Greenfield momentarily.
Barbiere's Italian Inn, featured in onmilwaukee.com's In Search of the Perfect Pizza in January 2013. Near Miller Park on Blue Mountain Road and on Milwaukee Avenue in South Milwaukee.
Semi-final match, our defending champions, Classic Lanes Greenfield, stepping on the lanes to take on It's All Greek to Me. And Joey, little interesting dynamic to this match with Laura Matilla in this match and her husband Steve on the opposing team.
Well, they're probably used to going at each other a little bit, possibly a little differently than this, but Laura's quite a competitor. I'm not sure about Steve. I don't know him quite as well, but Laura's not going to back down, and she knows it's bragging rights.
I'm sure there's a little bit of a side wager on between those two today, and Laura stepping up a little light. We saw her miss light in the 10th frame last game, leaving that bucket.
She's playing that deep inside line, and if anyone's familiar with Classic Lanes Greenfield, we know there's times you have to play in to create length. You need to feed it a little bit to the right to get recovery. And if you keep it a little bit in the oil too long, a result like this occurs. A good spare conversion.
Yeah, great way to cover it up. And Classic Lanes Greenfield, being the higher seed, had a lane choice coming into this match, so they moved It's All Greek to Me over to lane 13.
Now, this young girl knows the house pretty well. She knows each lane. She knows each part of the lane intimately. And she is definitely one of the top players ever to shoe up and bowl in Milwaukee.
Yeah, Milwaukee Hall of Famer, Wisconsin Women's State Hall of Famer, and proprietor here at Classic Lanes Greenfield, Gina Daroszewski.
Yeah, Gina knows a little soft on speed there. I mean, she can crush them from inside, outside, anywhere on the lane. Is that a Columbia Piranha spare ball?
You know that's been her favorite for years, Joey.
I saw her use that about 20 years ago or so when they came out in the 1993 to 94 season, I believe.
I think that ball is as old as her daughter Jenna, if I remember correctly. Jake Borsch stepping up, made a couple of quality shots last game when it counted. Get his team into the semifinal match. Just watch that shoulder rotation, how he posts. And, oh, that's always fair. Throw the best shot of the day, leave a stone 8. You see Gus just coming back there, you know, a little wry smile on Jake's face, but you know, it's part of the game. You're going to get the bad breaks here and there. You just got to make the spare and move on.
Well, yeah, and we all tend to remember those bad breaks on the non-carries where we don't always seem to remember the light ones or the mixers that fall.
And that is just a mental mistake by Jake Borsch there, hooking in front of the 8-pin. That's something you don't see very often.
He did not go to a spare ball. He stayed with a strike ball. And typically, you don't have to change your strike line, and the ball will pretty much dead center on the 8-pin off your strike line.
So either he grabbed it a little on the bomb, or it doesn't take much with a speed mistake here. Be a little slow and hook in front of it. And Kevin Muncha, this guy is going to have a problem with speed out here today. Likes to get that ball revved up and can't quite take the 10 out.
Yeah, kind of soft 10-pin. I'm sure he'll opt for his spare ball, which is what he's searching for right now. Cross lane shot.
Yeah, 6-pin just bottom down in the flat gutter. And nothing on that 10-pin. Kevin, part of the winning team this year up at Willow Creek for the Willow Creek Team Classic. That's a nice $20,000 team payday. Not as much on the lanes out here today at Classic Lanes Greenfield for the 2+1 trios, but thanks to the sponsorship of Classic Lanes Greenfield.
Yeah, other members, I believe, Harley Allman, Ron Scheiker, Scott Scheiker, and who am I missing?
I don't know who the fifth was on that team, Joey. I didn't honestly pay that much attention to.
Could it have been Scott Helm?
Possibly a lot of bowling between Scott and Ron Scheiker and Scott Helm over the years.
Well, we apologize to that fifth member if it is not Scott, but congratulations to everyone else. It's a nice payday.
It's a nice payday. $20,000 split between your 5 bowlers. I don't think anybody that's watching this show here on Time Warner Cable SportsChannel would turn that paycheck down. Gus Yannaras, just another Hall of Fame strike. 10 back.
Boring. Now our first look at Laura's husband, Steven. Author of 2,300 games.
Very upright at the line. Steve, a tall player, is about 6'3", 6'4", and got that one through a little quick off his hand. You could just see what happened on that shot. And with the track that's developed in the lanes from all the play today, as we mentioned earlier, we did not re-oil for the tournament finals here. If you get that ball outside of your target area, it's not coming back. With the excessive oil that's been left out on the lane, outside of probably 9th board.
Let's see what kind of adjustment Steve makes on the spare. If he moves right, which he does, and back-to-back shots missing the head pin right. I don't think he expected that on the second shot.
No, he didn't. And we'll be back with the rest of the semifinal match of Classic Lanes Greenfield in just a moment. Due to time constraints, we had the bowlers continue bowling through the commercial break. Laura Matilla, for It's All Greek to Me, gets a nice mixer to throw a double on the board for her team. Gina Daroszewski steps up after going high in the first frame.
She made a big move left, as you saw. Came just a touch light.
Railroad, never an easy spare conversion, but she's dead on it. Jake Borsch in the 5th frame for It's All Greek to Me. Looking to put a team 3-bagger on the board, and he does.
Gets the 8-pin to cooperate there.
And Kevin Muncha, after leaving that weak 10, just a hair high, leaving a 4-pin. Stays with that strike ball. A little slow hook at it. No problem covering it up. And as we get back to the action, It's All Greek to Me. Up by 36 pins over Classic Lanes Greenfield. But as we've seen before, Joey, leads can change in a hurry out here on the lanes.
Oh, yes, they can. See if one of these teams is going to take control of the match. Scores have been a little lower than I would have guessed.
Gus Yannaras, wow, that ball really grabbed to the left. I think he was just a little slow with his speed. And
Yeah, it doesn't take much, and you know, it's not always us throwing it slow. It's if we throw it to the friction area, friction creates or causes the ball to slow down faster, and that makes it appear even slower.
yeah, I was helping out fill the team up on this tournament earlier today, and I can tell you from my own personal experience on this pattern, boy, if you got just a little bit slow with the ball, it wasted no time finding the nose or worse on this pattern. It's only about a 4-to-1 ratio, and we have bowlers of this skill level on the pattern. Repeat shots at the break point, take that oil away, and force everybody to start migrating for the right-handers to the left part of the lane.
See if Steve can make the necessary adjustment to contribute to the team. Classic Lanes Greenfield.
Yeah, he's definitely made a big jump left, and not as far left in the front part of the lane. The high hard one, basically, for Steve.
Yeah, he feels good about that shot. You never want to let your teammates down.
Not at all. I want to thank our friends at visitsheboygan.com for all their sponsorship of events this spring and summer. Anything you're looking for a getaway up to Sheboygan, anywhere in the Sheboygan County area, go to visitsheboygan.com and get all your lodging and fun info. Laura Matilla stepping up.
Taking a little extra time on the approach.
Needs to hold.
Well, we've seen a solid 8 and a solid 9 on this lane.
4 9-pins in basically a game and a half on lane 13, and it's not that the pin's off spot or anything. It's just maybe that ball, when they're throwing it on 13, has a little more entry angle than lane 14 does. Overall shape of the ball motion, and it's just happening to leave that 9-pin.
And it's not as though she's playing the big hook, and it's not coming in from right field.
No.
It's a pretty tight line.
Yeah, it just shows you that just getting a little pop at the pocket that last 3 or 4 feet before the head pin gets you the entry angle you need to kick the 10 out, but
Gina knows the importance of this shot. They are on a strike. They're down a good 30-some pins.
looking to get her first strike in the match for her team, and
Doesn't get the friendly trip on the 4. I've seen her trip that 4-pin forward many a time.
oh yeah, I've lost many a match to Gina here at Classic Lanes Greenfield over the years on that trip 4.
She grabs her spare ball once again. Spare balls are balls we normally don't want to use often, but kind of like a putter for a golfer. They're kind of an important club.
Well, absolutely, and you see a lot of bowlers nowadays, especially higher average bowlers, getting away from plastic for spare balls and going with urethane, because then if they do hit a shorter pattern or a burned out pattern, it's just another piece of equipment in their bag that's functional for more than one use.
And cross lane on a wet dry condition, which a lot of house conditions can be, a urethane can tend to be just a touch more friendly through heavier concentrations of oil compared to plastic. Great shot by Jacob as we were rambling on.
32-pin lead for It's All Greek to me, and well, basically, Classic Lanes Greenfield is going to have to strike out here to put any pressure on It's All Greek to me. You haven't seen them make many mistakes today out on the lanes between Gus, Jake, and Laura.
Right. I may have mentioned Steve Matilla with his 2,300 games. It was actually Kevin Muncho with 2,300 games. High series of 861. Now, that's an unusual series.
That is.
There had to be a bad count in there or 3 bad counts, maybe 3 7 counts to come up with that 1 on the end.
Yeah, it would be quite unusual, especially when you hit the pocket that many times
Plus
in the
it's
night.
861. I mean, that's like 300, 261, which I'm sure can happen, but you don't hear of it too often.
No, you leave a bucket or a washout and only get a couple of pins for an open frame in a game. Yeah, you can get that 1 or 2 at the end of a high score. No doubt about that. Nice cover there by
So 111
Kevin.
in the 7th for Classic Lanes. Typically that buys around for each team on the pair.
So that would be Classic Lanes Greenfield. Gina will just
Yes.
throw that on the house tab.
Exactly. All right, see if the HOF, national HOF player, Gus Yannaras, can keep his team in the lead, which he does beautifully.
Yeah, that pretty much wraps her up on this match. 43-pin lead, only a frame to go. Maximum score for Classic Lanes Greenfield right now, 191. And even with a 9 count on the first ball, they're in the 2-0s for It's All Greek to Me. So this match pretty much done for.
Yeah. But again, still we're still seeing a little lower scoring pace than you'd think you'd see.
Well, especially after the bowlers have opened up the lanes a bit on a kind of tougher pattern to start with already. So they know that if they move in left, they can get a little room to the right. Or
much better shot from Steve once again. That's back-to-back great shots.
And he's probably going, can I get my shot in the third frame back? It would be a little different match right now with that 7 out. He just perfectly splits the 8 and the 9. Well, let's see. Looks like Laura's making a little move to the left there. She saw her look down at her feet, a little shuffle. She knows this one's pretty much in the bag. Just a matter of what lane they'll be on for the next match as they take on our top seeds, Team Columbia 300. And, wow, once again, 10th frame and another bucket for Laura Matilla.
Well, we can predict then a spare and a strike on the fill ball if she matches game 1.
Yeah, that ball just had nothing when it got to the pocket. Lots of deflection when it hit the 1-3. So let's see what she can do here to convert that spare.
Moves right. Pretty good shot.
Almost the exact same shot she had.
Well, now could be an experiment time. The game is locked up. She may want to try something a little different. Because you don't want a one-board error to be a 6 count.
No, not at all. So they'll be taking on Samantha Kelly, Eric Fritton, and Ron Wallenkamp Jr., members of Team Columbia 300 in that final match. And, boy, they had a 297 during the match play portion of this tournament. To go with the 290. So Team Columbia 300 definitely, I would think, they'd have a little bit of advantage going into the final match, as hot as they've been all day.
If Gina can finish off strong. Starts the ball nice and low. Great follow through. Yeah, kind of rips the rack a little bit. A little wry smile out of Gina.
Yeah, and Gina, just want to make sure we mention the Jimmy the Greek golf outing in honor of her dad, Jim Porras, Sunday, September 6th out at Muskego Lakes Country Club. It's a nice fundraiser. It's going to benefit the Alzheimer's Association of Southeastern Wisconsin. If you want to get a foursome together for that tournament, give Gina a call at Classic Lanes Greenfield, 414-282-6400, as we see another 9-pin left out in the lanes.
Her mom and dad, both with us still, and Jim, a wonderful man. I've known him for about 30-some years.
Yeah, so make sure you get your foursome together for that outing. Give Gina a call to get that set up. And Classic Lanes Greenfield not going to defend their title this year. It's going to be Team Columbia 300 versus It's All Greek to Me in the championship match. Joe Serrar and I will be back from Classic Lanes Greenfield with that match in just a couple of minutes.
Why do we have so many of our televised tournaments at Castle Lanes? Because we love being part of the wild side of bowling. If you're ready to get in touch with your wild side, go to castlelanes.com.
Well, bowling fans, you waited all day for the championship match here at the 2015 Classic Lanes Greenfield 2+1 trios. Team Columbia 300 against It's All Greek to Me, and All Greek to Me climbing that ladder, but now the team that's been hot all day standing in their way for the $810 first place prize, and Samantha Kelly starting things off.
Yeah, Samantha out of Poplar Creek Bowl in Streamwood, Illinois, or near Streamwood, Illinois. Author of one 300 game, a 761 high series.
And she had that 300 game during the Wisconsin Women's Open in 2013 we had here at Classic Lanes Greenfield, so this is one of her favorite houses in Wisconsin to bowl at.
I'm sure it is, as we see a 10-pin on her opening shot. Came in just a little late, but this girl's got some good speed.
Absolutely, and she can play those inside lines, learn that from her days bowling collegially at Robert Morris in Illinois. Not afraid of getting in over 4th or 5th arrow if needed, and that needs some help. And that's one of those situations where that urethane bowling ball for a spare Gives a little extra hook away that she didn't need at that point in time.
Yeah, 10 pins, generally most bowlers' nemesis pin, since we have less lane to work with. It tends to be a little more challenging.
Oh, and the one thing you don't want to do is give your opponent an opening early, and we've seen Laura Matilla like to jump on those openings, given a chance.
Very deep inside line on her laydown point, as she just gets enough of that 6-pin into the 10.
And now we'll see what happens for It's All Greek to Me. They got moved back to lane 14 by Team Columbia 300, and they've covered both lanes today. There's going to be a little change from lane play on what Classic Lanes Greenfield did on lane 14. We'll have to see what they can do to keep adjusting to that and stay in the match. Ron Wallenkamp Jr.'s second frame for Team Columbia 300, and how about that for tripping a 4?
Yeah, Ron learned that from his dad. Ron Sr. comes in a little deep in the pocket, trips the 4 and 7.
And high fives with authority for Team Columbia 300 on Ron's return back to the set tee area. See what Jake Borsch can do here to get a early double on his team scoreboard. Get him up by 11 pins early if he can do that. And how about that for a mixer?
That is a great shot, and Lenny's going, I've never carried a shot like that before, but I don't think Lenny plays quite as deep as Jake, but close.
Yeah, I want to give a nice shout out to Lenny's dad, Jake's grandfather. Been fighting a little bit of illness lately. Know he's back home, taking care of business there, and wishing him get well soon as Eric Fritton steps up. And boy, you talk about one guy that can overpower the left side. Eric Fritton can definitely do that for his team.
Well, Eric rev rate, he can buzz it up. He's probably pushing 400 some rev rate, but he's gotten better and better over the years with lane play and spare shooting ability.
Yeah, we've seen Eric on quite a few of our Time Warner Cable SportsChannel telecasts over the years. Ron Wallenkamp Jr. as well. Matt's made a couple himself here. Gus Yannaras needs that ball to hold.
Oh, Gus, a little surprised it came in a little steep at the very end.
When they got moved from lane 13 to 14 prior to this match, they only received one shadow ball on the lane to figure out what they wanted to do. So Gus could have been fooled by what he saw with that one shadow ball, but shouldn't have any problem. Cover up the spare, stays with his strike ball. Just take a little hook off of it.
Yeah, moves right, lets the lane bring it into the 4.
Covers it nicely. We're going to be back with the rest of this championship match from Classic Lanes in Greenfield. Stay on time. We had the ladies bowl through the commercial break for the 4th frame. Samantha Kelly steps up. A little light in the pocket, but how about that head pin doing a little work, Joey?
Everybody's friend when the messenger pin rolls over into that corner.
Laura Matilla steps up in her team's half of the 4th, whiffs the head pin entirely. Found that a little unusual, but a little more unusual how she made the spare. Watch that head pin roll into the 8 pin.
That's one of my favorite ways to make that spare. It's nice when you get a little luck on the spare.
No, puts her team down by 3 pins to Team Columbia 300. They can extend that lead if Ron Wallenkamp Jr. can step up and strike in the 5th frame.
Yeah, years ago, bowlers used to say, boy, I must have hit that high board on the lane, which is why the ball didn't hook back.
Nowadays, yeah, it's just one giant sheet across the lane. So
Ronnie Jr. playing deep inside and trips the 4-9. I mean, that's a good mix of pin carry there. First the 4-7, then the 4-9.
Yeah, he's going to have to make a move, no doubt, when he's back up in the 8th frame. Otherwise, at the rate that's going, that's going to be disaster for him.
Yeah, he's getting a little more power into that game of his, and congrats to him for winning the state team championship this year.
Jake Borsch stepping up. Frame 5. Look at that, nice open shoulders, closes them so smooth on the bottom. 6 kicks to 10.
Yeah, I see a little Ryan Zager in his game as well, don't you?
Well, they're good friends. They grew up bowling at Castle Lanes together. Ryan bowled there, and of course, Jake's dad, Lenny, runs Bowler's Choice Pro Shop down at Castle Lanes in Racine, and They've got some fun things going on this summer down there. If you get a chance to stop in at Classic Lanes anytime they're open, stop in and say hi.
They got a big Wednesday trios league going on, or doubles league.
We've got that a couple nights of the week, and I know they're awarding some bowling equipment as part of that league as well. So always great programs that Phil and Patty Anko put together down there as Eric Fritten throws another strike for his team, gets the team out to a 5-bagger. And the scores are rising just a bit from what we saw earlier today, Joey.
They are rising, and I mean, it's not from this team having familiarity on the pair. It's just great shot making and an occasional good break on pin carry.
Well, Gus 4-pin high in his shot in the third frame. Sure, he's going to make a little bit of an adjustment on it.
Gus always thinking. Definitely deeper in the lane, and hanger leaves a 2-pin.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of a hang for Laura Matilla's last shot, and sometimes you get that little bump in the oil pattern.
Yeah, and when this happens, where a bowler is caught between coming high and coming light, you either have to make a ball change or a dramatic line change. And on this pattern, I don't think you can make a dramatic line change.
No, we saw Steve Matilla last match basically straighten himself out through the front part of the lane and really increase the speed to keep the back end in control. So, Gus, with his arsenal of tricks, that could be something we might see him do when he steps back up.
Gus is a roto grip staffer, so he's got a lot of balls to choose from. And typically the move is you go from a mid-polished or high-polished ball down to a duller ball. This way you get a little more traction when you miss in and a little less snap when you miss right into the friction.
6 in a row, not going to happen.
That was a great shot by Samantha. I mean, she's got to figure out a way to get that 10 out, possibly. And, I mean, 3 good shots, but not good back-end reaction. You can see the deflection upon entry.
Yeah, 6-pin does absolutely nothing on the 10-pin as it falls in the flat gutter. And I think she's gone to a plastic spare ball this time.
Get a little more push through the middle of the lane. Last time she missed it a little left. This time, no problem.
Covers it up nicely and maintains that 22-pin lead for Team Columbia 300. And now a big shot here. Set up her team for the last portion of the game for Laura Matilla.
Laura with that open stance to start. Strong follow through. Past the shoulder. Rips the rack. That's the way to do it, Laura.
And that's not easy to can opener a rack like that. For that straight of a line, that ball maybe had 3 boards of overall hook.
Right, and her previous frame, she left the head pin. 1-2-8, I believe, is what she left, and it may have just been timing, release, where she didn't move her feet or target.
Looks like Ron Wallenkamp Jr.'s moved slightly to the left on the approach, try to counteract those 4-pin leaves that he's almost been leaving, and there's the 10 flush.
Yeah, but see, that's not as exciting, Ron, as your light or high trippers that you've carried, dead flush.
Oh. Now you're a spectator if you're Ron Wallenkamp Jr. You've thrown your 3 shots, you've got your team 3 strikes. Now you just get to kind of sit back and watch and cheer your team on.
Yeah, you've done your job.
See what Jake Borsch can do here to keep his team close.
Well, Jake knows this is a must strike. Great off the hand. Pretty job done there. Henkin gets blasted out.
Yeah, and definitely tightening the lines up on the back end, so there must be a little carry down on the back end on lane 14 that it's all Greek to me is trying to get around and face the pocket.
Yeah, they're within 12 pins. So we'll see if Team Columbia 300 can step up to the plate here and catch this 9th frame strike.
Well, for as many strikes as I saw Eric Fritten throw next to me today during qualifying, something tells me this is going to be 10 back.
Well, he is 2 for 2 so far. Yeah, no doubt about that one.
3 for 3. Great shot by Eric Fritten and the gentleman on the team. 6 for 6 so far, but that's why we put the lady in the anchor spot. The guys always want to step up and do it. It's our turn to let the ladies handle business in the 10th frame.
Sam can get rid of that pesky 10 pin, but I mean, when her teammates are, like you say, 6 for 6. Okay, Gus on a double, going for a turkey. Great mixer.
And you can see definitely straighter on the back end.
Yeah, and Gus knows that lane has gotten a little bit tricky. Can't be too deep, can't be too far in the friction. Just enough to pop that 7 off the deck.
With the 12-pin lead for Columbia 300, strike 9 spare would be a lock. That would get them to 247. Maximum score right now for It's All Greek to Me, 246. So this first shot here for Samantha Kelly is huge.
Yeah, let's see if he makes some type of move. A little bit right possibly on the approach. Oh, that was pretty.
Can't ask to throw it any better in that type of situation. You can see now, got some of the hard work out of the way, but there's still a little more out there. Strike definitely locks it up. 9 spare locks it up. Anything less than 9 on this next ball, and it gives It's All Greek to Me a chance in the 10th frame to tie or win this match.
Well, we've had one tie today already. Will we see another?
I like the excitement of a tie. Get it back down to that single ball roll off. Taking a little extra time on the approach. Can't blame her in this situation. It's a hair left and just enough to leave a 4.
Doesn't get the lucky trip on that 4 pin. This should be no trouble.
Yep. Spare here, 247, and the victory for Team Columbia 300, taking home an $810 first place prize if she can convert this 4 pin.
Yeah, moves far right on the approach. A lot of bowlers like to do that at Classic Greenfield. Let the lane bring it in a little bit, and she missed. She kind of drifted left, missed a little right, hit the puddle, missed the head, and missed the 4 pin.
And even with urethane, that ball not enough to get over that little bit of a puddle, as you said, Joey, and just misses the 4.
Yeah.
And
She might have brushed it, but didn't knock it over.
And now, Laura Matilla, and It's All Greek to Me, 3 strikes, and we have a tie.
Yeah, well, I mean, she did get the first one, but still disappointed she didn't convert the 4.
Yeah, she knew that was
Laura's
win.
been in the 10th with the same pressure back-to-back games, leaving dinner buckets on reasonably good shots. See if she...
Oh, that's just left.
It was left off the hand, you're right, and it's pretty much game over.
Yeah, that's it. And you can see the support still from the teammates getting their way through the stepladder up to second place. They're going to take home $540 for their second place effort today for It's All Greek to Me. $810 going home with Team Columbia 300, and you can tell Laura's disappointed right now, but she's learned a lot about lane play from her work with her team this week.
Yeah, bowling's got its highs and lows, and you can see it in their faces.
Nothing but handshakes and money to hand out. Joe Saran will be back from Classic Lanes Greenfield to wrap up this year's edition of the 2+1 Trios in just a couple of minutes. Make sure you stay tuned.
Providing premier equipment sales and services to Wisconsin bowlers since 1973. Check out our Wall of Fame and our current specials at bpsmilwaukee.com.
What a barn burner of a last match. I mean, it was the action was so hot inside, we had to get back outside and cool off a little bit. Team Columbia 300, great match. Ron Wallenkamp Jr., Eric Fritton struck on all their shots. Sam Kelly, a little bit of a struggle. Had a chance to close that match out with a spare on the fill ball of the 10th. Left that opening, missing the 4 pin, and Laura Matilla could have stepped up for its team, It's All Greek to Me, and tied that match.
Right, but Sam did get the first one in the 10th. That was a critical shot, and she hadn't struck up to that point. Laura bowled great all tournament. A lot of pressure on her there in the 10th, and that right lane did play a little tougher than the left.
Yeah. Team Columbia 300 takes home that first place prize. Great bowling by them all day, and of course, more great bowling coming up for you on Time Warner Cable SportsChannel. Lots of summer bowling coming up. Make sure you check your channel guide for that. For my friend Joe Sarar at Bowlers Pro Shop, see him for all your bowling needs. Hey, it's not too early to start thinking about fall leagues. See him for anything you need there. I'm Phil Brylow. Parents, take the kids bowling. They're going to have fun for life, and we'll see you on our next show.